The final quarter of the year is fast approaching, and I feel like this is a time where everyone starts getting a little bit shaky, like everyone starts stressing out, like the year's nearly over, and I haven't achieved all of the things that I said I would achieve by the end of the year. But I'm here to tell you that there's still time, and the next 4 months of the year can be the best months you've had in your entire life. They can be, and they will be. Hey, I'm Kaeto, and welcome to the Close Friends podcast, which is a podcast where I talk about really anything that comes to my mind. And I haven't been here in a while, and I have an explanation for that, which kind of links to the topic of today's episode, which I haven't yet, decided. I haven't yet found a way to pinpoint what today's topic is, which is why the video is probably titled "You Are Meant to See This," because I truly believe that the season we're entering into right now is going to be so big. It's going to be so big, and I feel like everybody's got something brewing, like everybody's got something coming, and we're all kind of waiting for something to happen, whatever it may be. I saw someone on TikTok the other day saying how January shouldn't be the new year and September should be the new year because nothing new happens in January. And I heard that and I was like, this makes no sense. But then I thought about it and I was like, no, they're so right. Because what actually changes for you in January, apart from the fact that you set New Year's resolutions, if you set them? Some people don't set them at all. But September though, you might be starting at a new school, you might be starting a new job. It's always September where the most change happens in your life. You might be entering the most important year at school. You might have exams coming up, all of that stuff. And yeah, I was like, maybe September should be the new year. Yeah, the next 4 months are going to be really pivotal to a lot of us, and I feel like it's important that we don't waste it and kind of think the year's rolling out, let's just I'll start again next year, because it's all of the waiting and all of the I'll start then and I'll start then that is the reason why we don't ever do the things that we say we were going to do. So these next 4 months, instead of seeing them as the year's ending, let's all be determined to make the next 4 months the best months of the year. We're trying to bang everything out in the next 4 months. So the reason why I've been gone for a while, because I said it links to today's episode, is literally because I say this a lot and I feel I'm literally tired of hearing myself say it, but I am someone who's very ambitious. I have a lot of goals and I have a lot of ideas, and I feel I'm always so creatively charged, so creatively fired up that I just self-implode. I literally burn out before I ever have the chance to do anything that I want to do. And so I've been putting off doing this podcast for a while, mainly because when I think about the things that I want to do long term, I'm a med student, but I'm the way I said that with I'm a med student, but my friends joke that me being a med student is my side hustle, and they're not completely wrong. I love being a med student and I love studying medicine. It's really, really interesting, but I also love writing. Publishing my book and it becoming a bestseller is actually one of my main goals in life right now. But back to the point at hand, I don't see myself being an influencer, being a presenter, being a podcaster, really. I don't. So I was like, why am I even doing this? When I'm sitting in front of this microphone talking, sometimes I'm just talking for the sake of talking. Who actually cares about what I'm saying right now? Who am I to speak? But then the other day I was scrolling through my YouTube comments, and I hadn't done this in a while. I just decided to scroll through them, and I was getting a lot of comments on the last podcast episode I did in March, back before I took my hiatus for my exams that lasted 7 months. And a lot of the comments were like, oh my gosh, this was such a comforting video. This was so touching. I feel so inspired. This is such an underrated conversation. And the last podcast episode was about the fig tree analogy by Sylvia Plath and how it haunts me every day because I'm haunted by it. And that fig tree analogy is basically just kind of what I said about having so many aspirations in life and not knowing which one to pick. But loads of people were like, oh my gosh, I love this chat. You're such a cozy person to speak to. This felt like I was talking to my friend. And even not just on the comments, but people messaging me that. And I was like, wow, this is so nice, because this is why I do things. I don't feel like I'm called to be an influencer or I'm called to be a podcaster, but I do feel like I'm called to share my experiences with people. And whether that's through writing, because when I write, people keep asking me what the book is about. I hate talking about what this book is about. I hate talking about it because I don't like people being that close to me. Do you know what I mean? I feel so happy to share to the world, because I always feel so connected to my audiences and my communities online. But the second somebody in my real life starts asking me things, I'm like, all of a sudden I forget how to speak. I hate sharing, but I will always happily overshare online. That's so fun and that's so exciting. But I've put a lot of my real experiences and the personalities of people in my real life into the book. And like, whilst it's a young adult contemporary romance, I don't know why I'm talking about this. Whilst it's a young adult contemporary romance, it's so much more than that, and I feel like it's an outlet for me to share things with people. And bear with me, because I want to remember the reason why I'm speaking about this. The reason why I'm speaking about this is because I feel called to share things with people, not necessarily through a podcast, but just through the creative mediums that I love doing in general. And I feel like a lot of the times as people, we put off things that we feel like we're called to do because either we're scared to do it, or we self-doubt, or we tell ourselves we're not good enough to do it, and then we end up wasting our lives doing things that we don't actually really enjoy doing. And I mean, I'm only 19 years old, and I'm very self-aware of how much time I waste. How much time I waste scrolling on TikTok, how much time I waste just bed rotting, how much time I waste just doing things that don't benefit me at all. And I'm not saying that every second of life needs to be productive, because sometimes we just have to live. And I think I've really learned that this summer, actually. Like, this summer has been such a slow living. Like, the girlies keep talking about slow living. Slow living. And I think they're completely, like, they were onto something. Before, I'd be like, what are you even talking about? We're making up new terms every day. But then I, like, thought about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're so right. Slow living. Like, yes. This summer, I would say, has been, like, one of my most boring summers, in the sense that I haven't really done much. Like, I went on holiday with my family, which was great. I've seen my friends when I could see my friends, but for the most part, I spent a lot of it at home, working on my book, just writing in general, writing songs with my sister. My sister's really good at music, and trust me, when she's famous one day, like, just you heard it here first. When she's famous one day, just remember, like, I played a big role in that. Anyway, yeah, I've just spent a lot of time, like, being by myself, and I really enjoyed that. I feel like I keep seeing online, like, how summer 2024 has been the deadest summer, and I'm like, really? You guys think that? Because I think it's just been so peaceful. And I don't know if it's because I've just come from uni, where, like, everything, I was so stressed all the time, and now, like, being at home, I've just had the opportunity to, like, reset and relax, and life just feels, like, good and fun and free again. But I think genuinely this has been such a freeing summer, and it's been really great, because now I feel like the next 4 months I can really push through and try and do all of the things that I said I was going to do. Like, it's been like doing it bit by bit at a time. And whilst we're on that note, I feel like it's important to mention that sometimes we set, like, crazy expectations for ourselves, and then because we set these crazy expectations, if we don't achieve them, it feels like even more of a come down. Like, if I, like, told myself, oh, this is gonna be the best summer yet, summer 2024 is gonna be my latest summer, I'm gonna be outside, I'm gonna be, you know, if I said all of those things, then when this summer wasn't quite that at all, I probably would have been, like, more, you know, sad about it. But because I've kind of just been, like, taking every day at a time and just doing things little by little, then life has been, like, it's been so much easier to appreciate, if that makes sense. It's kind of on the same note, I set myself the goal to finish writing my book by the end of this summer, which I have actually achieved, but I wanted to finish writing the first and the second draft so that I could then query it before I go back to uni. Because when I go back to uni, I literally am going to have to spend, like, 12 hours a day on my degree alone. I saw my timetable, I made my, like, revision schedule. Yeah, it was really something. So I wanted to finish doing that, and instead of, like, setting myself this goal, like, if I don't do this by the end of the summer, I will die, the world will end, I instead just, like, let myself do it bit by bit. I've been trying to do as much as I can, and I have been spending loads of time. Like, I made the video solving my screen time for writing time, which is really good, because that's how I finished the first draft in general. But now the second draft is like, oh, it's taking so long, and, like, I get so demotivated. Like, after a long time of writing, I just, like, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then I'll be like, actually, I don't even want to publish this book. Like, this book is rubbish. And then I'll read it again and I'm like, wait, no, this is actually good. The other day, oh my gosh, sorry, I've gone so off topic, but the other day, I was reading the final chapter, as you do. I was literally mid-editing chapter 9 and I was like, nah, I skipped to the final chapter. I read it and I was like, this is so good. I can't wait for the world to read this. And then it motivated me to do this again. And this is another really important thing that I did want to talk about. My brain is just, there's too many thoughts coming out at once. Bear with me. What I wanted to talk about was how, like, we should always remember our why, in the sense that whenever you find yourself not wanting to do something, or trying to talk yourself out of doing something, or trying to put off something for even longer than you've already put it off for, you should just take a second to remind yourself why you wanted to do it in the first place. And I feel like that's why, first of all, I'm back with the podcast, because I remembered that I'm doing this because I like sharing my experiences with people, and whilst I like doing that in other ways, this podcast is also really important to some people. Like, I have actually helped someone, and that's crazy to think about. I was thinking about my like med school video, about the video I made about how I got into med school through clearing. The amount of people who have messaged me, and I'm not even being dramatic, like, never in my life would I think like I would make a video and people would message me to like thank me for making the video and ask my advice and ask my help, and like, never in my life did I think that was something that could like, never in my life did I expect that to happen to me. Like, when I make my videos, it's actually just for funsies. Like, it's just for funsies, or it's just for, sometimes it's for informational funsies, but for the most part, it's just for funsies. And when people came back to me and messaged me saying that I helped them, I'm like, oh, wow, really? Wow, that's so like, wow, I'm really happy that I've helped you. And that's why I do the podcast. The reason why I'm writing my book is because I want to share the story, and I have way bigger dreams for the book than just publishing the one, but like, that's why I do it, and it helps you to keep moving. So if you feel like you're in a limbo era of life right now, where you feel like, oh, too much of the year has passed and I haven't done enough and I can't do all of the things that I want to do, just remember why you wanted to do it in the first place, and it will help you be able to do it. That's even a promise. Like, even if you decide, you think about why you're doing it and you kind of don't like that why anymore, and you decide that you don't want to do it anymore, at least now you know. Do you know what I mean? Not everything that we first think about is something we should do. And I feel like I'm someone where like, I think of an idea and then I do it immediately without thinking about the consequences. I mean, I did it with this podcast. I've done it with so much. Like, consequences, it's not for me. Like, it's actually not for me to think about consequences of my actions. I just do it and then overthink after the fact, which is a blessing and a curse, because it means that most things that I want to do, I actually just do. Like, when I was 13 and wanted to start my YouTube channel, I made that PowerPoint and I showed it to my dad, and I made that YouTube channel. I didn't think about the fact that everyone at school would be able to see the YouTube channel. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about the fact that people would come up to me, people that I don't know in the road would come up to me and start talking to me about the videos that I put out. I didn't think about that. Did I think about it after it happened? Yes. But the point was that the videos were already out there and the YouTube channel was already made. And I feel like that's literally the best advice I've ever heard in my life. Like, don't feel the fear of looking stupid, but then still do it anyway. Like, you'd rather look stupid after you've done something that makes you happy than look stupid whilst not even doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather do something, it makes me happy, and people have their opinions, than me not doing it at all and then like resenting myself for not doing it, if that makes sense. So I feel like the premise of this episode is that whatever it is you're thinking of doing, just do it. Just do it. Why are you not doing it? If you can give me a valid reason as to why you're not doing it, that's fine. You're okay. You're completely fine. But if you can't give me a valid reason, I'm going to need you to do the thing. Albeit, it has to be something that's ethical and doesn't cause negative impacts to other people. Okay? Disclaimer. Just quick disclaimer. But you should just do it. Because why not? September, October, November, December. There's 4 months left of the year. And I was thinking the other day of doing this video. Either a YouTube video or a series on TikTok, because I'm planning on becoming a consistent queen the rest of this year. A series where I like try to complete all of the goals that I've set for myself this year. Because the other day I was just in my bed, as you do, thinking about my life. And I was like, what have I actually achieved this year? I felt like 8 months have gone past. 9 months now. 9 months have passed, and I was thinking, at the start of this year, the first episode of the podcast was me talking about my goals for the year, sharing my goals with the world for no reason whatsoever. People talk about evil eye. First of all, I just don't even believe in that. I feel like my God's greater than your evil eye. But I do believe in I do believe in people's negative energy, and actually I do believe in evil eye in the sense that I feel like if people are actually out to get you and they start speaking negativity in your life, like that can have an impact on you. But I also don't think that their negativity can ever outweigh the positivity of your own like affirmations, if that makes sense. Like if I tell myself I'm going to achieve someone, just because like Sally next door is telling me that I'm not going to achieve it doesn't mean I'm not going to achieve it. Do you know what I mean? So I just said my goals because I felt like it. And I was thinking the other day, when I do my summary podcast episode about my goals at the end of this year, how many of those goals would I have actually achieved? I don't know how many. And I was thinking about this at night. But I saw my friend talking about how she looked at her vision board and she was like, oh my gosh, I've already achieved so many of the things on my vision board, and it's only, I think I saw this in like July. And so I was doing it. I did the same thing. I looked at my vision board. It's literally my home screen. It's my home screen on my phone, my iPad, my laptop, literally everything. I looked at my vision board and I was going through like all of the things, like all of the pictures on it and what I've achieved from these things. And I was like, wow, I've actually done so much. I've actually done so much more than I even could have imagined that I've done. And I feel like a lot of the times we always think about the things we haven't done and the things we're still yet to do and the things we need to do, and never think about what we've actually already accomplished and how far we've already come. And I feel like even if you feel like you haven't come very far this year, I can literally promise you that you have. Like, I can literally promise you, just the fact that you've even clicked on this video is enough. The fact that you're even thinking of doing the thing that you want to do, so much so that you have seen this video somehow, it's come up on your homepage and you're watching it or you're listening to this podcast episode, that in itself is an achievement. And I just feel like now it's up to you to sort of take the leap. Like, you have the idea and now you have to do it. And that's just, it's as simple as that, actually. Like, that's actually, in fact, that's the whole message of this episode. That's the whole message of the podcast episode. There's 4 months left of the year. How are you going to spend it? Are you going to spend it dilly-dallying, telling yourself, oh, I'll get back to it next year? Or are you going to use these 4 months for the days that they are? Like, 4 months, how many days is that? That's at least 120 days. 120 days. 4 months is 100 and... Did I do the maths right? 4 times 30. 120 days left of the year. Do you know how much time that is? That is so much time. I'm talking so close to the mic. I don't know. Wait, sorry. Oh my gosh. If you can hear like my lips smacking together, I'm so sorry. Anyway. 120 days is a lot of time. That's a lot of time. And if you can like plan properly, that's still enough time to do the 12-week year. The 12-week year is basically when you take your goals for the year and then try to like bang them out in 12 weeks basically, which is kind of the video idea that I just said I wanted to do, like where I try to complete all of my goals before the end of the year. Actually, I'm not sure if I let that thought finish. Did I say? I don't know if I said that. I feel like I started saying that thought and never finished it. But what I was trying to say a few thoughts ago was that I wanted to do a video or a series on my TikTok or my YouTube where I try to complete all of my goals in like a week, or each week I put a new goal in. And that's basically kind of what the 12-week year is, in the sense that you take all of your goals for the 12 months and make them goals for 12 weeks instead, because you can be surprised by how much you can accomplish when you actually take out the time you spend doing nothing and put it into doing something. I really wish I had researched what the 12-week year is properly so I could tell you more about it. Actually, I can do that right now. So basically, according to Google AI, the 12-week year is a goal setting and time management strategy that helps people and organizations achieve their goals by focusing on shorter, more focused execution periods. So the 12-week year method involves breaking down the traditional annual planning cycle into 12-week cycles rather than setting a goal for the entire year. So the 12-week year method can help people achieve their goals by increasing focus, achieving more in less time, providing actionable advice, and some core principles is holding yourself accountable, taking responsibility for the time you're spending, the time you're wasting, being committed to your goals, and focusing on the greatness in the moment. That's so motivational, focusing on the greatness in the moment. Think about the good things in your life. Think about them. Are you thinking? Sit with that. I feel like a yoga instructor. I feel like actually specifically when I did dance, there was this one teacher we had that she would always start the classes off with like 5-minute meditation. So she would get us to like lie on our backs. This was even in musical theatre class. I miss being a theatre kid so bad. She would make us like lie on our backs and like think about all the good things in life and like channel our energies so that we could perform to the best of our abilities. I used to think she was quite crazy at the time. I did. But now I realize she was actually onto something. Because the second you start appreciating yourself for who you are and the good things in your life, it helps you perform so much better at literally everything. So think about it. Really think about it. So basically, how the 12-week year method can be implemented is setting a vision. So whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, establish 12 goals to hit each week, plan how you're actually going to achieve them each week, and track your progress. And one thing you can do is find accountability partners. I just got a personal assistant, shout out Chloe, and a lot of people actually were like, why does Kaeto need a personal assistant? Which I understand why you would think such a thing, because I'm just a girl. More importantly, I'm an unemployed, full-time, educated girl. So yeah, why do you need a personal assistant? But really it's because, like I said, I'm a really ambitious person and I have a lot of things that I want to achieve and literally not enough time in the day to achieve them. So I recently got a personal assistant. The reason why I mentioned this was because she's just so lovely. The fact that I have someone who's like gonna be constantly there, I feel like it's gonna help me stay motivated. And I have someone who's like constantly like they need to be receiving content from me or they need to be receiving like information from me. It's gonna help me stay motivated and stay on top of everything because I have someone who's always there. So yes, that's really exciting. I'm really excited for her to start. I'm really excited for the next 4 months, actually. I feel like the next 4 months are actually genuinely going to be life-changing for me. And I was thinking about this. I feel like I'm going to do a different episode on this, so I'll hold this thought for another time. But I was literally like, when I close my eyes and like think about my future, I quite literally cannot imagine a possibility or a reality where I don't achieve all of the things that I want to do. When I try to imagine that, I actually just see like Growl, like it's actually just black, like there's nothing there, it's just death, the world has ended. So really, to summarize this video, I know that you have your goals and you have your dreams that you're trying to achieve, and I also know that you might feel a lot of pressure surrounding that, especially as the year's about to end, and you might feel like you're running out of time, but time is actually still there, and you should never like compare your process to somebody else's process. Like, yes, we're not promised every day, but at the same time, time isn't running out. Like, time works for you, not against you. You should think about how you're spending your time. I feel like this is more directed at myself, because I feel like whilst I'm very much a night person too, so like I'll spend my day like dilly-dallying, like I'll blink and 3 hours has passed, but then deep late into the night, it'll be like 3 a.m. and now all of a sudden my brain is like active and fired up. I'm like doing all of these things I literally could have done during the day, and so I could sleep at night. Like I got 2 hours of sleep last night. I actually did get 2 hours of sleep last night. Just like what was I even doing? And now here I am running on 2 hours of sleep when I could have got a good night's sleep in order to give you the best content for this podcast episode. But here we are. Think about how you're spending your time. Limit your bed rotting time. Put those downtime things on your phone. I recently put a screen time limit for social medias as 2 hours per day. I do, like every day without fail, have said 15 more minutes multiple times. But do you see how I'm making the step? Do you see how I'm trying? Yeah, go outside, live life, enjoy the little things. Look at the birds flying out of my window right now. Like the birds flying outside, like that's so pretty. I'm sorry, it actually is. That's so cringe, but like as I said, enjoy the little things. Like a pack of birds actually just flew by, and I was like, damn, like those birds were really pretty. Wow. But yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode of the Close Friends podcast. I'm Kaeto. You can find me on the internet at Kaeto Valentina on everything. You can find this podcast specifically on Instagram at Close Friends with KV. On Spotify, you can follow and rate the podcast 5 stars. It's called Close Friends with Kaeto Valentina. On YouTube, it's just under my YouTube page, Kaeto Valentina. So you can subscribe, like, turn on the post notifications, all of those things, all of that jazz. But yeah, it's been really nice talking to you guys. It really has been, and it's really nice. It feels so nice to be back. Like, it actually does. Like, I'm actually happy to be here. I'm actually really happy. Thank you. I love you all, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.